and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
It's time to steer the line.
Touchdown!
Sports betting, fantasy football, and the latest NFL news. Featuring Loud Esmond, Christian Giordani, Rocky Giordani, and Jeremy James. Bet on us to make you a better better.
What?
Let's get ready to steer the line.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Christian Giordani, and this is Mr. Loud Esmond. How you doing there,
Yo.
Loud?
Doing great. A little live NFL preseason action tonight.
Yeah.
So I've got the over in this game, over 37. Right now, 17 points scored between Carolina and the Giants, 14 Giants, Carolina 3, with about 9 minutes left in the second quarter. So over 37 looks doable. And, of course, last night I had the Browns +4 at the Eagles. That game ended in a tie, but the +4 gives you a win. So I cashed that one. So looking good going into the weekend. It looks like I'll have 2 winners predicted. And then I've got several games we can talk about this weekend in preseason betting as well. Something that's been on my mind. Can I have that notebook right there, please? Because that's where my pre-show notes are. Of course, I left them across the room. Can we talk about some of these rookie quarterbacks?
Let's do.
I'm very concerned. I think Anthony Richardson being named the starter by the Indianapolis Colts is a huge mistake. Anthony Richardson played like 14 games in college as a starter between 2 seasons. He came out as a sophomore. Now, I know he's got all kinds of athletic talent, but his accuracy in college, his completion percentage was like 54, 55%. He wildly missed a lot of throws. And they were the sort of bread and butter passes. Like, he can hit a short out and he can hit a deep bomb. But he has trouble inside the hashes with just sort of 5-yard, 8-yard curl route, this, that, a little dig.
The West Coast offense. He's been struggling with it.
And I don't think he's ready to be an NFL quarterback. And let's face it, Indianapolis doesn't have a lot around him to help him.
That's true. I like Anthony Richardson. He reminds me a lot of a young Cam Newton, the way he runs the ball, the way he, he's not the smartest quarterback behind center, but he is electric. He is crazy to run around.
Yeah, I agree. All kinds of athletic talent. But in the NFL, a quarterback has to be able to play quarterback.
He'll develop eventually. It's just that the Colts made the decision to throw him in the fire and trial by fire. He's going to have to learn every single week. And I agree with you. I think Gardner Minshew should have started the first 5 weeks of the season just to get Anthony Richardson around an NFL pro quarterback. He's not – Gardner Minshew, in my book, is nowhere near a great NFL quarterback, but he's played games. He's won some games.
Right.
He gets to see the system before he can go on the field himself. And it's a mistake from the front office, in my opinion, but who knows? He might get better around. He might start off great.
And what this is an overreaction to, I think, is Trey Lance. Trey Lance, the 49ers leveraged the world to go get him.
3 first-round picks.
Athletically talented, very short resume. Remember, he played 1 season, and the next season was COVID. And they didn't play. His team put together an exhibition game for him in November so that he could, show what he could do and get some reps and get drafted. The 49ers leveraged their world to go get him, and then they sat him because guess what? He wasn't ready to play quarterback. And you know what you're seeing now? He's not ready to play quarterback because they sat him, and then when they played him, he got hurt within the first 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, I watched very closely the first game he started against the Chicago Bears because I had said on this show a lot, he's not ready to play quarterback at the NFL level. He didn't even play 11-on-11 football in high school. He played at a small school that played 7-on-7.
That's bad, man.
So, I mean, how many? He has like 12 total games with 11-on-11 football at Division II, and you draft him number 1 and give up 3 first round. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know what that move was from the front office. There wasn't a lot of talent to see. I didn't really get the hype of him coming out of college. I didn't really see much coming up. And giving up 3 first-round picks to move up to number 3 for him was an insane move. They could have got and ended up the next year. They drafted their franchise quarterback, it seems, and Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft.
Everybody is chasing the next RG3, the next Lamar Jackson, the next Pepper, which is our
Dante Culpepper.
No. Our nickname, my nickname for Patrick Mahomes is Pepper. Because, it's a long story. Anyway, that's lightning in a bottle, okay? Those guys come along generationally, and they do crazy stuff. I am very worried about Anthony Richardson starting for the Colts. Now, the guy for the Panthers who started his second preseason game tonight, Bryce Young, he looks terrible.
I knew that was a bad pick from the start. He's undersized. I know a lot of guys are going to bring up guys like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was a flash in the pan for one season. He had a good rookie season. They had a great year too. And then after that, he just plummeted. The offense got used to him. They knew where he was going to run. They knew what system he plays in now. And
you know what else they knew? He can't run the offense.
Exactly.
We don't have to worry about him actually running the plays as they're called. We just got to keep him in the pocket. Bryce Young looks lost. And even worse than playing bad, when they cut to him after a bad play, he looks confused. He looks lost. He looks depressed. And he's shaking his head like, oh my God. A receiver runs the wrong route, whatever. It doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. But you know what? He needs to stop rolling his eyes and shaking his head, because I watched him just in this game miss 2 wide open receivers by feet. I mean, he had a first down with a guy over the middle, and he threw a missile 3 feet to his left. Just whoosh. No way he could get it. And then he threw one into the dirt when the guy had an easy 5-yard out for a completion and a first down. I think Bryce Young is now experiencing being on a team that completely sucks for the first time in his life. And he's not used to it.
Yeah, these are going to be growing pains that these rookie quarterbacks are going to have to learn. Bryce Young, a guy like CJ Stroud, a guy like Anthony Richardson. This is the first time in a long time,
they're ever going to face losing.
They're going to be on a losing situation, in high school, they had to have been winning and good enough to have been offered by a big Division I college.
Florida Gators, Alabama, and CJ Stroud, Ohio State.
Yeah, these are all big Division
I'm
I.
sorry. If you're not one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country in high school, you don't get offered by those programs.
And I want to talk about one of the quarterbacks that have been doing really good this preseason. He's ranked in the top 5, actually number 4 in preseason quarterback so far. Aiden O'Connell for the Las Vegas Raiders has been doing actually really good in the preseason. Man.
It's one game. It's one game. And the 49ers played nobody. They never blitzed. They played their second and third string players the entire game. They didn't give a rat's ass about that game against the Raiders. I know Raider Nation is going to be all excited, but tell me what the score is when the 49ers play the Raiders in Las Vegas in November. What do you think the score is going to be?
That's going to be a pummeling, but that's the Niners at full force, man. I think that team's going undefeated this year with Brock Purdy healthy, and you know that.
Yeah, I don't know undefeated. It's the NFL. Weird S happens, but let's pump the brakes on Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders. One more quarterback I'm really worried about as a rookie, CJ Stroud with the Texans.
Yeah, he hasn't been looking that good.
The problem for all three of these kids, and they're kids to me, they're your age, Christian.
Yeah, they're about a year older, I guess.
I'm almost triple your and their ages, okay? All of them are on teams that suck. Bad offense, bad defense. What's the most powerful weapon that the Colts have?
That's Jonathan Taylor, and it looks like he's not going to be playing again for a while.
There you go. So guess what? Your team sucks on offense because you were going to run the ball. Now you can't. Bryce Young, who's his most potent weapon?
God
I can't
knows.
name one.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud with the Texans. He's going to be connecting all year with
no one.
The sideline. I believe more passes will be incomplete than completed by all three of these quarterbacks. Because I don't know who they're throwing to. I don't know who's protecting them. Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are getting sacked like 5 times a game right now in the preseason. So, I mean, it might be 15 in the regular season if they play a full game. So, very worried about them. A quarterback that has a long history, who I am very worried about. My God, could Russell Wilson have looked worse in the first preseason game?
You know what? A lot of people have been bashing on Russell Wilson. He has been looking bad. Don't get me wrong. It's the first game back, man. I got a little bit of faith in him being better than that. The offensive line doesn't look as good as we thought it would since signing all those key pieces. All the faith everyone had in the Broncos this year has been extinguished after this first preseason week.
You know what I'm watching is he looks unsure of himself. He's holding the ball too long. That weird little shovel pass he tried, it was stupid. It ends up in a turnover. His footwork is all over the place. It's not crisp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. I think Russell's cooked. I think it's over. Look, the Seahawks let him walk out the door. Now, you have a wonderful fiance, correct?
Yeah.
Now, if she comes to you and she says, honey, I love you, but Christian, I need you to do this for me, or it's just not going to work out. And it's some minor request. Can you keep your toothbrush out of the sink? Or, don't leave your underwear in the bathroom. Whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Russell Wilson went to the Seahawks and said, hey, can you guys stop leaving your underwear on the floor? And they said no. That's what happened. Because they allowed him to leave for nothing, right?
Yeah, they got a pretty good haul for him, actually.
Right. But they were prepared to let him walk out the door.
They saw the writing on the wall coming with him. They knew, and a lot of people say it's age, it's injury that's been hacking him up. It's been private affairs, man. This man's wife has made it more important to him to be hanging out with rappers and social media stars and shaking their butts on camera in yachts than going out and playing ball.
In any case, whatever the reason, look, if you are willing to let your current significant other walk, there must be a reason, right?
Yes.
And the Seahawks told Russell Wilson, you want to leave? Okay. We're going to go get what we can for you. And God bless him. This may turn out to be one of the steals of the century in sports. Yeah. Russell Wilson for what they got.
Yeah, Noah Fant, 2 first-rounders, a third-rounder, and Drew Lock.
And then they extended him and gave him $245 million.
He was, for a short amount of time, he was the richest quarterback in NFL history.
How many games has he won? Did they win
I believe
four last year? Five last
games.
year? How many are they going to win this year?
Probably last 4 or 5.
4 or 5, right? So I believe what's going to happen is Sean Payton is going to go to the Broncos management towards the end of this year and say, trade him. See what we can get for him. He's not going to work for us. No one's going to take him. And you know what? They're going to release him. They're going to end up releasing him because he shouldn't be taking up a roster spot. And they'll be in the top 10 in terms of picks. And they will pick a quarterback. They will bring in a journeyman, yada, yada, yada. And they'll be starting over. I don't believe Russell Wilson has a chance of working out for the Broncos. He does not do what Sean Payton wants in a quarterback. It's square peg, round hole. He's burned out. He's not focused on the game anymore. I think it's over.
And most importantly, besides all those factors, the team has lost complete faith in him. If you saw any clips of them in the sideline last season, they were fed up with all the corny social media posts, the Bronco countries, let's ride. His own offensive linemen were fighting each other, because this guy has been just touring this team to a mess. Yeah. His receivers don't even want to talk to him anymore. Yeah, that's how bad it's been in this organization.
It is a train wreck in Denver. All right, so let's look at some quarterbacks. And by the way, the reason we do all this is a sports betting show, okay? So the reason we're talking about this is I would be fading the Indianapolis Colts, the Panthers, and the Texans all season based on the fact I have no faith in their rookie quarterbacks, and I think they're in terrible situations. So here's my advice. Bet against the Colts, the Panthers, the Texans, and the Broncos all season long. I don't believe you can go wrong doing that. Watch the point spreads, but I think more often than not, if you can get a decent money line bet, let's say minus 150 or less on a team that is playing one of those teams, as long as it's not the Raiders or the Cardinals, I would be taking that bet. All right. The New Orleans Saints. Let's just rock a little Saints bling here. The New Orleans Saints
bandwagon.
I said would cover the -1 against the Kansas City Chiefs at home last week, which they did, 26-24. Here's the only thing that I want to point about that game that stands out to me. Derek Carr got the kickoff. The team started at the 18 because of a penalty, and they went 11 plays, 82 yards, touchdown. He was 8 of 9 on that drive, and he gave the ball to 5 different receivers. The Saints offense looks unstoppable. With Carr is basically getting to act as a point guard. He doesn't have to run. He doesn't have to play hero ball. All he has to do is run the play. And if he's at the line of scrimmage and he doesn't like what he sees, check to something else. They looked great on offense.
Yeah, they were looking good. Derek Carr, every single one of their quarterbacks got a touchdown that game. Jameis Winston, Jake Heiner, and Derek Carr have been doing good. And a guy who didn't get that many carries, but I think he's going to do really good and replace Alvin Kamara after the end of the season. Jamal Williams, man, I think he has the potential
I love him
to be a top 10 running back, man. And
the rookie from TCU, he had a little lightning here and there. Look, everybody knows I'm a Derek Carr fan, right? And I think he was done dirty by the Raiders. But let me just point out, his defense will be top 10. First time in his career, he will be playing with a top 10 defense. His offensive line is at least in the top 50% of the league. And then look at his weapons, Christian. Who are they?
He's got Alvin Kamara. He's got, what's his name?
Michael Thomas.
Chris
Olave.
Yeah, Chris Olave was a beast.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, Jamal Williams.
The rookie from TCU. Tyler Moreau from the Raiders.
Yes.
And then the other tight end. Oh, my God. He's got, oh, my God. A team would be thrilled to have Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave.
Yeah. And this
Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, healthy Michael Thomas, Jamal Williams. I mean, he is in a great situation.
Yes, he is. And as much as I do bash on Derek Carr, I'm happy for him, man. He's got a good fit in New Orleans. I think for the first time he's actually going to win some games, some meaningful games. He might actually win a playoff game.
By the way, he's won 2 playoff games. Just everybody seems to forget somehow. He has won 2 playoff games. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. And one team that's in the same division that I'm surprised didn't go after him was the Tampa Bay Rays. They knew Tom Brady wasn't going to be there.
Buccaneers. Sorry. The Rays play baseball.
Bucks. Yeah. Rays. Speaking of the Rays, Wander Franco.
Well,
man.
They've got Baker Mayfield, so they're in great shape.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield's been interesting. Have you heard the news about Wander Franco? For the Rays? Wander Franco for the Rays?
No.
He might never play pro baseball again. They caught him with a 14-year-old.
Dead boy or live girl?
Live girl.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he may have thought he was in what's the country? Asia? Thailand. He may have thought he was in Thailand. So that would be okay there. All right. By the way, over-under numbers. I started talking about over-under numbers in late July, and everybody's like, oh, my God, why are you talking about over-unders now? Because I said there are going to be over-under numbers that are going to move in the wrong direction, and you want to get them now. The Raiders over-under number in late July was over-under 7.5. And I was screaming to everybody, oh, my God, grab the under 7.5 wins for the Vegas Raiders right now. You know what the number is now, Christian?
Tell me.
6.
6 wins in total.
Right. From 7.5 to 6. Since the middle of July. So I know they blasted the 49ers. Good for the Vegas Raiders. They're going to win the preseason. Who cares? I don't.
You know what I've been preaching with the Vegas Raiders, man? Either rebuild or find yourself a quarterback that can help you contend right now.
If I was the owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, tomorrow morning, my to-do list, fire Josh McDaniels, fire the general manager,
Hire me.
trade Devontae Adams,
Trade Max
trade
Crosby.
Max Crosby,
Trade Hunter Renfrow. Trade every single vet you
every
can get out of there.
single chip that you have on the table for the next, and I would be trading him for draft picks for the next 3 years.
1 minute.
And then I would go find a credible, winning college coach, and I would bring in a guy from a team that has been good at manipulating the salary cap. By the way, just want to throw this out there. The picks this weekend, Giants on the money line versus the Panthers, minus 155. Ravens, minus 3.5. Commanders. 49ers, plus 4 at the Broncos. Dolphins, Texans, under 40. Jets, minus 2.5 at the Buccaneers. Christian, take us out.
All right, everyone. This has been Steer the Line, where you get all your NFL betting advice, and we will see you guys next week.